Well, hello there, cartoon fanatics, and welcome back to Cartoon Corner. I hope you noticed that there have been some changes since the last time we met. Okay, all that it comes down to is I finally got a computer to do digital art. So here we go. Brand new stills, brand new experiences, much cleaner experiences. Yes, I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I finally got around to doing it. So, bam, here you go. All of this beauty just for you. No cost. Literally, no cost at all. Anywho, I thought what better way to test out using these new stills but to talk a little bit about the recent Amphibia episodes. Obviously, Amphibia is not entirely over yet, and I am going to dive into Infinity Train, but I need to write a script for that one because it deserves it. And right now, I'm just kind of going off the top of my head, so let's just talk about Amphibia and all the stuff going on there and have a good time. So the last time I discussed season 2 of Amphibia on this channel, it was more of an in-person, face-to-face sort of thing. We discussed the first temple and all of the stuff that went down there, but obviously since then the girls have managed to locate and recharge the stones for the other two temples, that being the Temple of Heart and the Temple of Strength. The Temple of Strength episode being the one that came out recently. So, with that in mind, I'm going to kind of skip over all of sort of the fun, lighthearted stuff of Marcy traversing through Wardwood and making friends and all of that fun, happy cuteness, and just dive right into the lore. Get right into it. Push the fluff aside, get into the lore, and talk a little bit about what might come by the end of this season because, oh boy, something tells me it's going to end explosively and on a cliffhanger, possibly. Most likely. So, first off, the Temple of Heart kind of went about the way I expected it, where it wasn't really an official temple, but we did come back to that Newt from season 1 that knew about the box, and she was the guardian of this temple, kind of proving Anne's worth to make sure that Anne had what it took in order to, charge the stone at the temple and obviously pass the test, and then they get that stone charged. Now, the important takeaway is that unlike when Marcy got her stone charged and her power drained, Anne covered one of her eyes during the bright light process, so therefore, the stone is only partially charged. Also, the stone charged a lot slower in the Heart Temple, so Anne got impatient. When it was more or less full, she decided to say, yeah, that's good enough, and took it and ran off to save the planters. So, obviously, the Heartstone, it's not exactly at full charge capacity compared to the other two stones. And that's definitely going to come into play later because we see that Anne only gets half of her calamity power drained, and that's definitely going to come into play at some point. I don't know how, but it's definitely going to come into play. Now, let's get into the meat of this week's most recent episodes, where the girls finally go to the third temple. We have a little bit of sort of a cute filler episode between Bessie taking care of this new baby snail that Polly got from Newtopia while they're busy packing. It also gives a reason as to why Anne suddenly has a plate of armor. Marcy brings over a professional newt stylist to try and give Anne a newt makeover to, prep for the temple, and the breastplate's basically the only thing Anne agrees to wear. So that's covered. Character design change, kind of. So with that in mind, let's talk about the third temple, which is obviously the Temple of Strength. And I was wondering if they were going to have, a reunion with Sasha, because as we have seen, Sasha is the direct correlation to this temple, just like Anne is the one for heart and Marcy is the one for intelligence. So they do run into Sasha, and it's kind of funny because when people ask what the Anne and Sasha meeting up again would be like, creator Matt said that it would be explosive. And I was thinking like a huge big blowout. I should have known that it was kind of a tease because it just meant they were literally in an exploding volcano. I mean, obviously there's still some tension there, but Sasha basically tries to blow it under the water. She gives a pretty decent apology, but at the same time, we know that she and Commander Grime are busy trying to build up this revolution to overthrow the king in Newtopia. So she's obviously going in with ulterior motives. However, for this, she tries to make things up with Anne, sort of. Marcy obviously has no idea of what's going on, and she's just happy to have all of her friends back together again to get this third stone charged and to take it back to the king and get the music box figured out. So, yeah, poor Marcy. I don't think she has any idea of what's really going on. So they do manage to conquer the temple, and Sasha charges that third stone, and of course she looks directly in with both eyes. That power is drained, so that'll be really interesting when she and Grind try to do their whole overthrowing thing. So, where does this leave us exactly? Well, it leaves us with a couple of potential plot and character development lines that are probably going to accumulate come the season finale. So I'd say the biggest things to look out for is obviously looking at Sasha herself, mainly because we started seeing hints that she's beginning to realize her tactics and her leadership skills aren't the healthiest. We saw that in a previous episode with her where she goes to get this giant warhammer with Grime and the other Toad buddies, Percy and what's the girl Toad's name? Guys, what's the girl Toad's name? I can't remember. No! Well, you know what I'm talking about, them. And at the end, even though the other Toads told Sasha that they wanted out, that it was getting too intense, and they wanted to stop, she kept pushing forward, and that resulted in her losing those two Toads. They didn't want to be a part of her cause anymore. I mean, obviously they still supported the cause, but they didn't want to be in the thick of it, risking their lives. And we can see that that actually really affected Sasha. And even now, as she's going through with this plan to somewhat trick Anne and Marcy a little bit just so they can get to Newtopia to begin this uprising, at the very end of this episode, you can see that she is starting to have some doubts about her tactics and whether or not it's worth risking the relationships that she has with others. So, as we gear up towards the season 2 finale, not only do we have Sasha questioning herself and her tactics now, on top of that, we also have Marcy and her undying loyalty to the king. Currently, who knows if that'll waver a bit. Once things are uncovered, we'll find out. And then, of course, the final piece fit into place that Anne does not have her calamity powers fully drained, that stone is currently unstable. So we've got 3 major factors for our 3 girl players here, and it's all going to accumulate to something. I don't know what, but boy, will it be interesting to find out. Or painful. Probably both, knowing these shows. It'll be fun and painful. I hope you guys enjoyed sort of this brief update on Amphibia before the season finale drops or hits. I feel like it's got to be coming up soon. I kind of lost track of episodes. But if you liked anything you saw here, you can put a thumbs up and press that like button. Obviously, if you want to stay tuned, because there are future cartoon corners coming up, especially with the Infinity Train. Going to dive into book 4 there and sort of Infinity Train overall now that it's over. Nope, this is not the episode to think about that. Not the time. But if you want to hear those thoughts in the future, you can always hit that subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed these updated stills. I had a really fun time making them, and I definitely want to make more because I did not capture every single expression that I want to portray when doing these reviews, so stay tuned. The further in we go, the more crazy stills you'll probably see. And that's it for now. You guys have a good day.